Hey, we're all set. We're all
We
set.
are.
And you
Hey,
brought notes, so let's just dive
I
right into
did.
the
I
notes.
mean, it's not notes about yeah, it's something that I was listening to and that was
Uh-huh.
interesting.
Mhm.
But maybe or maybe I won't talk about it. We'll see how it
Okay,
goes.
okay.
How are you?
I'm doing quite well today. I would say I'm at 85% today. I did a walk, I did a full yoga workout and everything, and so that's kind of where I'm at
That's
right
good.
now.
How is the weather there in
It's
Colorado?
it's in the mid 30s right now, but it's sunny. There's no wind or anything, so it's nice walking
Okay.
temperature. So it's good. Yeah.
I miss walking during the until October, I think. Yeah, end of October. I walked a lot. I
Uh,
love to walk in my neighborhood here at
mhm,
5 in the morning or even before 5 when everybody else is sleeping. And it's the
mhm.
best time for me for that's where I get all of my
Yeah,
ideas.
I love it. I love it. I like what
And
Brooke Castillo said, and that I like to think about this when I'm walking. She said, "I love to just walk and think about my future. I don't want to, necessarily stuff my ears full of ear pods and be feeding my brain with something else. I just like to walk and think about my future."
yeah, I do the
Yeah.
same. I walk and I that's where all of my creativity is at its
Mhm,
peak when I
mhm.
have all of my ideas and then I have to stop sometimes and then I bring out my phone and I take notes.
Yeah.
And when I come home, I come ready and write. And I haven't walked for a while because it's cold and also because
Yeah.
now at 5 in the morning it's very dark.
Yes.
And I have
Yeah.
to say that I am afraid, not of the dark, but to walk in my neighborhood at 5 in the morning when it's all dark, like
Yeah.
it's a deep darkness. And
And
so,
also another thing, you've had some snow there and so on, and
oh
and
yeah, snow
you
is
had some
okay. I mean,
ice.
and there is no snow right now. Snow, we had just snow a weekend. And I mean, when I have warm clothes, I'm fine. But it's more of the darkness, the deep dark
Mm. Yeah,
that
yeah.
I'm afraid of. So I haven't walked for a while and I miss it. But yeah, I do some
Do you
other.
have I'm assuming in your neighborhood, you sent me some pictures of your house in the neighborhood around there, so I've seen. Do you have like a greenway or parks that are like really close and trails
I
and
do
so on?
have like, yeah, we have like my neighborhood is, as you said, is very walkable. So it's
Uh,
all close. And then we have a pond. And so I walk around the
oh,
pond.
that's nice. I love that. Yeah.
And yes, we have trails. And so it's very nice to walk around. And that was one of the reasons why we chose that house as well, because we
Yeah.
wanted somewhere where we can just walk. It has sidewalks and
Yes.
yeah, it's
That's
when
that's one thing I like about my neighborhood too. That's exactly what it's like. We have a greenway, we have all sorts of parks, all sorts of trails very close. And not only that, we did, like for me, the supermarket is, a 2-minute walk away and there are restaurants here if I wanted to do that so everything's very walkable.
yeah, so it's the same for me for my neighborhood. So I love that. And why were we talking about that? Yeah, the loved walk. You said you walked this morning, so you're
Oh
feeling
yeah,
better.
yeah. So we just went off on a
The
tangent about
trail
it.
I love, but I do love that's what the conversation is. It means that we don't
Yeah.
have a hidden agenda, and that's I love. It's a
So if
concept.
you guys
And
are watching, we don't plan this out. We do not
yeah,
script this. We
yeah,
do not come to the table with a preconceived idea of what we're going to talk about.
exactly.
It's
That's why
just a
I said
spontaneous
I have a
thing.
note, but I don't know if we're gonna talk about it. But it's
Yeah,
and even most of the time, the things that I come to the podcast with to share, I don't get to share
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
the flow of the conversations just takes
yeah.
us somewhere. And I think that's what's interesting because you don't have that with everyone.
True.
The flow, the way the conversation. But what I want to say is that when you're open and curious, and those are two values that I really love, to be open, to hear
Mm.
anything, to receive
Yep.
anything, and to be curious.
Hmm.
Just asking questions, it leads you, it makes you grow so much.
Hmm. Yep.
Every time I talk, because it's understanding your view, your perspective, knowing that we have such a different background and,
Hmm.
yet, we
But
are
yet we have
very,
lots of common ground.
we do.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we could be the more, we couldn't be any different,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Although I'm kind of blonde and white hair like you right now, but and
Now,
short hair,
I
you
was thinking
have.
about this morning. I don't know if I'll ever, I've never dyed my hair. I don't know if I ever would. But I was considering, well, what if I dyed it and it was like a blonde?
Then you just
What would that
re-dye
be
it
like?
and change. That's interesting what you're saying. And I know I'm very grateful that, God has given me that character to not be afraid of change.
Mm,
You
mm.
know, I kind of am bored in a lot of ways. Like I do things that are bored. And my thing is, you know what? If I don't like it, I can still go back to something. Like I had a plan B with my hair. I'm like, if I don't like it, I can wear wigs, I can add
Yep, yep,
extensions, I can make
yep.
it longer. And it's, just feeling the freedom that nothing is going to keep me stuck.
Yeah, that's good. That's really
Knowing
good.
that
That's
I
really good.
have, as you said, I'm at the driver's seat of my life. And then
Yeah,
God is, of course,
yeah,
but, there is free will, something that is called free will that is super important.
yeah.
And I am still at the driver's seat. And then I can choose to lead my life instead of just being passive,
Mm,
instead of just being someone who just, goes with the flow, right?
yeah. I like to think that, in fact, I'm toying around with keeping this and putting this as part of the language of the document I say every day. But I like to think that I'm an infinite multiverse.
Hmm.
And so any decision I make, there are literally infinite possibilities for how my life will play out. And every time I make a decision, I split those possibilities.
Hmm.
And so I like to think of that for everybody, and everybody's walking around with that, because if you think about it, the decision you make does really literally split the universe
Wow.
into
Yeah.
what would happen if you decided one thing as opposed to another.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Freedom, openness, and whatever, all the things that you can have when you're curious, when you're
Mhm,
open,
mhm,
and
mhm.
that you can do your multi dimensions, you can create anything, you can do
Yep.
anything, if you
Yeah.
allow yourself to go there. I think the
Yeah.
hardest is to allow yourself,
That's right.
to go
That's
there.
right. To
It's
to
to,
allow yourself to say, this is all within my control, and I am who I imagine myself to be, whoever I imagine myself to be in every moment. That's who I am.
yeah, or you don't know until you try sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and not to be afraid to try new things, to do new things. And, at least, not just to do it, but when you're uncomfortable, there
Uh,
is a playwright, forgot his name, and it was a long time ago, who says, you suffer your way to truth. And I know that Gabor Mate, the guy that I like, really talks about it a lot.
yeah.
Like suffering your way to truth, meaning that you need to experience, you need to go through the hardship to get somewhere. And
Mm,
that's what captures your attention. You pay attention when you've paid for it, or you pay attention when it is bothering you, or when there is some kind of
yeah.
pain associated.
Yeah.
Like when we go to the doctor, sometimes we don't go to the doctor until the pain is too high, too
Right.
heavy.
Yeah.
And so that pain is a blessing in some ways, because it catches your attention. It makes
Hmm.
you focus on something where you need to pay attention to.
Hmm. Yeah. So suffering is okay. Suffering is
Suffering your way
okay.
to truth. Yes.
Let's see. Sorry.
Suffering, even in the Christian life, in my Christian faith, suffering is big. We don't like it because, of course, it's painful, and we don't like to be in pain. But there is my favorite book of the Bible. One of my favorite book in the New Testament is a letter to the Philippians, and it's
Hmm.
called, I did a Bible study once where it's about joy. And Paul, when he writes this book, this letter, this epistle, he is in prison in Rome, and the conditions are just awful. But he says when he's there, that it's all joyful, and that book is called, almost like the book of joy. And
Hmm.
he says about, his love for Christ, and, for him to live. There is a thing where to me, to live is Christ. No, to live is gain and to die is Christ, or something like that. But to saying,
Mm.
I can choose to live or to die, either way. If
Either
I
way, it's fine.
live,
Yeah.
if I live, it's good because I can profess the gospel of Christ. But if I die, I can also be with Christ. So both are, and
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
looking at life, saying that there is no loss, everything is gain.
Mhm.
Is
That's
like,
good. I
for
like
me,
that.
it's like, wow, it just blows my mind. And I try to kind of live life that way, to say that, what, even if it's painful, like suffering your way to truth, or, having very bad experiences and all of that, I try to look at them with joy. That's why I say that I am joyful. I have joy
Mhm.
even in my deepest challenges, because it's a
Mhm.
choice,
Mhm.
because my perspective is bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. So just joy, that the purpose of life is joy.
It's joy, not happiness, but the joy. And
Yeah.
sometimes when you
Yeah.
say, oh, joy, 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 people can think about toxic positivity, saying if you're joyful, it means that you're never sad. Or if you're joyful, it means that you never complain. Or if you're joyful, it means that everything is going right in your life. But for me,
Right.
joy, it's the opposite. It's like a spirit of joy
Yeah.
that doesn't stop because of your circumstances. It's when you're able to go past your circumstance and say, you know what, I choose joy. I am joyful,
I'm
no matter
joyful no matter what, because
what. Joyful and joy filled.
I love my experience. I'm a loving observer of what I'm experiencing, and there's joy
Yeah.
in whatever I'm experiencing.
Yes. And to know, like when you say, right, that loving experience, it makes me think of what I wanted, the notes I have taken already earlier about self-actualization.
Mhm.
And you call it, a loving observer of your thoughts,
Yes.
really
Yeah.
to show yourself some kind of compassion,
Mhm.
and, take the time to check in with yourself. What is it that I'm feeling? I am upset. Why am I upset? I am angry. Why am I angry? Or I'm feeling, a weird feeling inside of me of shame or anything. Why is that?
Mhm.
And so when you kind of know it, when you take the time to sit with it, you don't, want to blame yourself. And then it also allows you to be in a responsive mode rather than a reactive mode.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you're not paying attention, that's when you just, you react.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, my daughter, like Bella Joy, she would be around and would start crying. I can choose to be irritated, or
Mhm.
if I am, like, say I'm on a podcast with her and it happens and she's crying, I can choose to be like, oh, why not? Or, my first reaction is like, and I'm completely honest, I'm like, oh no, I really want it to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
done. But then I can still you know cut how do you say, catch myself.
Catch yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, wait a minute, what's happening here? I am on a podcast with you. My daughter is crying. What's most important? My
Yeah.
daughter's well-being.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
okay. I'll just be, and then, the whoever is watching is gonna understand,
Oh,
and
that they'll definitely understand. And
yeah.
what was interesting just about that specific example is I know my reaction has been, I've noticed that when it's happened, my reaction is much different than it would have been 5 years ago or something, right? Well, actually, I would say for me, it's much different than it would have been before I became a parent.
Ah.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's sort of the same thing with walking in Target or whatever, and there's
A kid throwing a
there's a
fit.
kid screaming, sitting in the extension seat in the shopping cart or whatever, and I remember one time with Corvo, we were walking in, and Corvo was so annoyed, and I said, there'll be a day when you will not be this won't even phase you or bother you or won't even register, right? It's
Mhm.
like if you're a parent, you understand.
Oh yeah, or
Yeah.
in the plane, when
Oh
they're
yeah,
mom,
on a plane.
and
Yeah,
then
that's
I'm
another
so, when the
example.
baby, you see when the baby's crying, they're like, shh, they're hiding, and I always, try to catch their, them, and then just smile and say, it's okay, just let
Yeah, it's
the
okay.
baby
Yeah.
be. I know most people are like, oh, I hope I won't. You know what? When Bella Joy was little, and all of my kids, they were very good in the plane. And when I get in the plane, I see, people not very happy that when I sit somewhere. And then when we land, honestly, most of the time they're like, oh, your babies, your children are so well behaved. We didn't hear them and things like that. And I always, notice the difference between when I first come in and at the end of the flight, because but generally speaking, I allow my kids to be themselves
Yeah.
and to tend to their heart, because when you tend to the
That's
heart
good.
of your children, then they're, just free to be, and they're
Yeah, I
much
love
less
that.
fussy.
Love
They're
that. Yeah.
much less fussy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. All
Mhm.
right. Well, we've filled up our time.
Okay, so
Uh,
tomorrow there is a huge game. There is France against England, and
oh yeah.
Croatia just had Brazil out.
Okay.
Brazil, the big Brazil is out, and there is another game right now. So
Yeah,
that's gonna be
I'm.
interesting.
I will just say I have no idea what all that
I
means.
know it's soccer and it's FIFA
I
World
know
Cup.
I saw a post about Morocco getting into the quarterfinals.
Morocco,
And I
yes.
thought, okay, well that's
They took Spain out, and Spain is one of
wow,
the huge countries. So it's a
nice.
big thing. And they're neighbors too. So there is kind of rivalry. And so it will
and,
be
and the
great
and
to
the
win.
defending champion is France, right?
Oh yeah, it's
Okay.
us.
Okay.
So yeah, so we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, that's quite exciting.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So
Well, thanks
have
everybody
a
for joining us. Have a beautiful Friday.
Friday evening. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right. That's good. That's good.